So before we get into the interview, I was wondering if you could just go ahead and kind of tell us what exactly your profession is, and then if you want to provide a little background information about yourself before we ask you a few brief questions.
Okay, yeah. So I'm here at NAU. I'm actually in the same building where your astronomy department is located, in the renovated new side of that building. I serve as the chair of the Department of STEM Education, and we prepare future high school and middle school science and mathematics teachers. So that's the primary area of my work. I have a doctorate in science education and have been at NAU for almost 9 years now. I'm finishing my 9th year here and finishing up my 25th year as a university faculty.
All right.
What else would you like to know?
Well, I think that's an awesome start. I think we're just going to go ahead and each ask you a question.
Sure.
Go ahead and answer it with whatever you got.
Yeah.
All right. I have the first question for you.
Okay.
And I just wanted to know why you chose this profession and when did you know that this was something that you really wanted to do?
Well, I actually started out as a high school teacher myself. I'm from India, so my career started in India. At age 21 is when I started my first school teaching job. And it was not like I was intentionally seeking to be a teacher, but it was an opportunity that came through and I took it. And once I got into it, I really liked it. And so ever since then, I have done nothing else except be a teacher. From age 21 till now. And then back in the 1990s, I had an opportunity to come to the United States and pursue higher education. So then I went in for a doctorate in science education, and then I became a university level science education faculty.
Thank you.
Did that answer the question?
Yes, it did.
Okay,
I appreciate that. I believe Max is going to ask you the next question.
Okay.
Yep. So my question is, where did your influence come from to pursue your level of education? Was it like parental, or was it another factor that really influenced you to?
I would say partly parental and partly my own teachers as I was going through school and going through college back in India. I think both on my father's side and my mother's side, probably the first, if not the only one, to pursue a doctoral degree. And so once I became a school teacher, then it was all about education,
From there,
from there on, yeah.
Okay. And I think I'm also going to go ahead and ask you the third question as well. Did you ever feel excluded due to your diverse background throughout your education process? Maybe when you came over here too.
Yeah, I think that would apply only to the time after I came here to the US. Sometimes, yes, but not too frequently and not in very obvious ways.
Okay.
But sometimes it did seem like, oh yeah, they could have chosen me for this, or they could have asked me to do this, that kind of thing. Yeah, every now and then, yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
I believe I'm up. So mine's kind of like a two-parter. And so the first one is, what are some goals you accomplished with skills you picked up in your field? And what goals do you still wish to accomplish with your current skills?
That's a question that will take some thinking.
You can answer one if you want. Yeah.
It's not a straightforward informational question. As far as accomplishing the goals, are you thinking about, is the question about goals that I had for myself or the goals that I have for the place in which I work?
It can be either or, honestly. Any major goals that you did set for yourself, or like in the field that you're working in, any goals that you've set to accomplish for the field, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So generally speaking, in a broad sense, my ultimate goal is to make a difference in science teaching and learning that goes on in schools, to improve.
Okay.
Right? That's the broad goal, because science is so important, and especially in our times, there is nothing we do which is not somehow connected to or influenced by science, right? I often, in my classes, in my teacher education classes, I often give the challenge to students to think about, okay, from the time you get up in the morning, get out of bed, from the time you go to bed at night, think of some things that are not influenced by science or are somehow not connected to science. And pretty much invariably, nobody can come up with an example of anything they do during their entire day that is somehow not connected to or influenced by science. So what that means is that science is such an important part of our life. And therefore, the science learning experiences of students need to be very high quality. And unfortunately, in our country here, in most places, that is not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, science is being taught by teachers who are not even certified in science, right? So my personal and professional broad goal is to engage in activities that will help improve the teaching and learning of science. So then coming to the place that I work in now, our department here, the Department of STEM Education, the things that I do, whether I'm teaching classes or my administrative responsibilities, my interactions with people here on campus, interactions with teachers out in the field, etc., are all geared towards accomplishing that particular goal, improving science teaching and learning, improving the science learning experiences of students, whether they are school students or even college students, because oftentimes even at college level, the science learning experiences that students have turn out to be not all that great. Not all the time, but there are times when, I mean, I'm sure you guys have all gone through certain science classes which you found less than desirable, you know.
Yeah.
So that's my ultimate personal and professional goal.
That's great. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe next up is Leo.
Yes, this is going to be our final question. So I remember you saying, sir, that early in your career, you started in India and then you moved to the US to be a school faculty member. That's definitely like a big jump, a lot of change going on for sure. I was wondering if, were there any hardships or obstacles you had to overcome in pursuit of your career?
Well, the hardships, I wouldn't call them hardships or obstacles, because I think in some ways I had the advantage coming to the US. I had the advantage of the familiarity with the American system of education, because I was teaching prior to coming here. I had taught for almost 10 years in an international school in India. And in that school, we were prepared. I used to teach AP biology courses, if you are familiar with AP here in the American system, right? So I've taught AP biology sitting in India in an international school. So and about 60% of our high school graduates from that school came to the US for college education. So we were preparing our students for college education in the US. So I was very familiar with the system. So in that sense, I had a little bit of an advantage compared to somebody who had been only in the Indian system, and then all of a sudden they come to the US, and it's very, very different, right? So in that sense, I didn't really have too many obstacles or hardships, but there was a little bit of getting used to. You know, things are different here, things are done differently here. Simple little things like driving on the right hand side of the road versus driving on the left hand side of the road back in India. And so when you are a pedestrian and you're trying to cross the street, I always look the wrong way, because I thought that that's where the traffic is going to be coming from. You know, so those are little things, but it takes a little bit of getting used to those things. But no real major hardships or obstacles as far as the actual educational work and that kind of stuff is concerned.
Well, I think that is super awesome. I did not know you taught in an international school. That probably made the transition for sure a little bit easier to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We had at our school, we had people from like 30 different countries teachers and students and staff. And it was a residential school. So obviously everybody from all over the world came and lived there. And so we were like one big giant international family living together, so that made the transition really easy. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, sir. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
I think that is all we need for our interview. Thank you so much.
Okay, my
and have a
pleasure.
great rest of your weekend, sir.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
All the best for your whatever project this is that you're doing this interview for.
Yeah.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
really
your time.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Take care.
Oh shit, I can't hear you.
I did. We're all good.
Oh, okay, bet. Are we doing a presentation, like a slide still with it, or are we just showing the video?
No, we're gonna do slides with it. So Chow's gonna set that up. He's just gonna set up the slides and then he's gonna talk about it a little bit. Just basically give a little introduction of the guy. That's gonna be the first slide. Then the second slide is gonna be a YouTube link. I'm gonna upload this to YouTube, and then. So
Okay.
I'm gonna email him and make sure it's okay that we post it on YouTube. So.
Okay. All right.
But yeah,
Awesome.
we got it all figured out.
All right. Thank you guys.
All
Awesome.
right, later, man.
Later.